What is up guys, my name is Chase and these are my hands. So I was looking through my video game collection and I thought it would be fun today to talk about some video game box art, specifically some of the worst video game box art in my opinion. Now when it comes to video game box art, usually what I consider to be a good video game box art is if you don't know what the video game is and you go to like a game store like GameStop or something and they have all the games, lined up on the shelf. And if you're just skimming through those games, you can see the video game cover and it gives you a good idea of what this game is, and you feel inclined to pick it up and play it. So what the heck is this? This is honestly the main trend that made me want to make this video. It's the whole main character box art, which has become very common in a lot of video games and even in some other media like movies and whatnot. It just feels like the most generic idea of okay, how should we depict our video game? How about let's slap the main character on the front, put a colored background and call it a day. Now in some cases, maybe that works for a video game box art. For example, The Last of Us Part 2 is just a big close-up of Ellie's face, but I think the Part 2 kind of implies that you know what's going on in The Last of Us. So seeing Ellie's face, just she looks pissed off, she's ready to get some revenge. You know the idea of the game, so I think that, is when the main character box art is kind of warranted, is if you're familiar and you know that this game is going to be all about this character's story. With Cyberpunk, I don't know, I feel like the main focus of this game is the world. Night City seems to be the big draw of this game, all of the NPCs that you can talk to, all of the different buildings and whatnot that you can explore. Seeing the character on the box, I don't know, as someone who doesn't know anything about Cyberpunk, why do I care about this? And then I also picked out some other games that kind of do the same thing, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And listen, I know that The Witcher 3 is a very beloved game. This one I feel is a bit less bad than Cyberpunk's, because yeah, going into Witcher 3, you probably understand the concept, and I think there's enough design elements on here, there's some little flares and whatnot on here, that it gives it some character. It feels okay, this is the type of journey that I'm expecting with this character that looks super, disheveled and has all these weapons with him. And then I also found the same problem with Life is Strange True Colors. It's just the character on the front. At least this one is a bit colorful, which is I don't know, kind of fun. But for the most part, it's who is this? Why do I care? What's she doing with her hand? And hey, the nice thing about this game at least is that the box art kind of blends into the back cover, which I think is fun. I like when games actually do that. If we look at Cyberpunk, which has this bright yellow just in your face, and then when you turn it around, it just cuts off here. Now it's all just boring. But yeah, these are the main character box art. Just throw the main character on there and call it a day. People will buy it. And I would probably say this was an even bigger problem maybe 8 or 9 years ago. Games like BioShock Infinite had a very just boring, uninspired main character thrown onto the cover. So yeah, this is I don't know, it's sort of the most boring default cover that I feel games can go with. And in that same vein, we have Marvel Spider-Man. Listen, I don't know, maybe this is what they were going for, just a very simplistic, this is freaking Spider-Man. You know Spider-Man. But something about this cover, I don't know, it seems a bit too simple and honestly kind of boring for me. What especially kind of bugs me about this game is that the red really clashes with the red of Spider-Man. I don't know, maybe it's just that I really like contrasting colors when it comes to my video thumbnails or just pictures in general. So the fact that they put red Spider-Man on top of red, I don't know, it just feels it feels he blends into the cover a bit too much. I don't know, maybe once again, the idea is just that this is Spider-Man, this is Spider-Man. And at the very least, what we can say is that they did have some consistency with Spider-Man Miles Morales. This does the same thing of just putting Spider-Man on top of a black background this time. And it's at this point, I don't know, I feel these games have been out long enough where it's the fact that it's so simple, you kind of know that it belongs to these games, I guess. Well, we've been complaining about PlayStation enough, let's talk about Nintendo. What the heck is this one? I feel especially during the Wii era, Nintendo was trying to be very much simplistic, almost like Apple in some cases, where it's just put a white background and make the cover as simple as possible. And looking back at it today, it's not my favorite thing ever. For example, with the Wii series of games on the Wii often would just have a big Wii remote slapped on it on a white background. And I feel that's kind of what they were going with here with Mario Kart Wii, which is so strange to me. Mario Kart is a series that I associate with having so much character and fun and arcadiness to to it that you would think they would often use like a very like complex, you know, very fun to look at type of box art. But this one is just like white, Mario, Luigi, floating in the sky with Wii remotes and the Wii wheel. I mean, I guess that was their big thing at the time, was the Wii wheel. And I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely one of the kids that totally fell for the whole gimmick and the whole shtick of the Wii wheel. I was like, I can drive a car with my Wii remote. I even bought like a third-party Wii wheel, like it was ridiculous. But yeah, looking back at it now, it's like, why was this the cover for Mario Kart? Like, first off, we have two Wii wheels right here in Mario and Luigi's hands, and then we have a third one just like haunting them in the background. And then there was this little circle, which was also the circle around the Wii wheel. Yeah, I don't know, like very interesting decisions. I would have loved to see Mario Kart Wii with like a more colorful, like fun box art. And last but not least, let's talk about Super Mario 3D All-Stars. This was honestly one of the first games I thought of when I was thinking of like some of the worst video game box art. Like, this box art isn't inherently like terrible, like it gets the job done. Like, okay, this is a game that includes Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy, like that's cool. That's a fun deal. We get these 3 classic 3D Mario games. But I always felt like the whole like promotion and like sort of artwork behind Super Mario 3D World was always just kind of weird. It felt kind of like rushed, like they were just kind of doing it in Microsoft Paint or something, where it's like these lines, you know, they cut off Mario here for one thing. Everything just kind of like feels like just, you know, cropped together, like just throw all of the assets we have for these 3 games together and then just like call it a day. Like even here on the back, Super Mario Galaxy has like the outline of the actual Wii case, and then Super Mario Sunshine just has like the box art by itself without the actual like outline of the GameCube game case. Like little stuff like that, I don't know, it just kind of feels weird. Very unlike Nintendo. And then on the inside, we also have just a big collage of just like random screenshots and whatnot. Once again, I feel like that's probably what they were going for, just like showing off all of the classic gameplay of these Mario games. And then of course, if we take a look at the game card, the logo isn't even centered. And why is it just the logo? I feel like they could have probably made some kind of fun art for this, instead of just slapping the logo on this like yellow background. Even Super Mario All-Stars, when it got released on the Wii, they had like custom artwork for the box. So the fact that this is just like all kind of just thrown together assets, like it just kind of feels weird, I don't know. But those were just kind of my nitpicks with video game box art that I found on my shelf. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think are the worst video game box art? If you want to see me chat more about video games, check out the video below. For now, thank you so much for watching. My name is Chase, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.